Zwienen. I'm Solutions Engineer at ZPE Systems. Today, I will demonstrate our cloud-based solution to show you the various features and ways how to use our ZPE Cloud. Some of the objectives that I'll be attending: I will give you a general overview of the ease of use of our ZPE Cloud platform. I will demonstrate the three main tasks for using the ZPE Cloud. First of all, monitoring if all of your remote devices are online and accessible. This is your last resort network to have access to your IT devices and your business critical infrastructure. The second one will be quick access to target devices for fast troubleshooting. When you get an alarm or a ticket that something is wrong on your remote location, you need fast access to reduce your mean time to recovery. And the third one is being able to run updates or configure multiple devices at the same time. Every so often you need to update your software patches, or you want to run scheduled backups on a group basis and not on individual units. So therefore group management is very handy. Another great functionality of our ZPE Cloud is to do configuration management on your connected target devices. This can be done, but I will leave this out of the scope for this video. Some of the resources that I'll be using the ZPEcloud.com, which resides in the US. ZPE also have a localized cloud instance in Germany, which is the EU Cloud. And for target devices, I have a Cisco GS300 here in my home lab connected. The console port is connected to a Bolt SR, which I will be switching between once in a while to show you the effort. Let's jump in. Here we see our ZPEcloud.com instance in the US. We have our login. And we also see the multiple single sign-on or multi-factor authentication methods that we have. I will show you later on how this works for users. So here we have an overview, and we pretty much already jump right into the first objective, which is monitoring if all devices are online. Here on the right-hand side, with these colorized overviews, we can see which units are online, which are offline, and on which sites they are online and offline. We see that we have 46 devices in total in this ZPE Cloud, and they are all located on 17 different locations. So if I jump right in, I can see my locations. There's 3 in Europe, there's 1 in the UK, there's 1 in France, and there's 1 here in Amsterdam. Like I mentioned, we see the sites. If we go back to the dashboard and pretty much zoom in all the way on street level. So if I had multiple locations inside one city, I can see exactly which ones are at which locations as well. Under access, I can see all of the devices, or what we mentioned for objective number 1, see which sites have a failover, for example. These sites are still accessible, but they are connected over one link or over LTE and need to be fixed for them to be fully redundant for availability. And we can also check the offline units in here as well, or we can have a joint. Here you can see your offline units and your on failover units. The interface they are connected with, and I have directly access. Of course, these are the ones that are failover. So I self-access. The offline ones, of course, I don't. Very easy to use. I can also use filtering. There's no failover of online in Amsterdam because this one is online. So if I select it, I can see my unit here in Amsterdam. Or if I don't want to look by site, but I want to look by group, later on in groups, I'll show you how that works. We can have multiple units, for example, in one group. And with this group, I can see all of them if they're online or if they're offline. I can see cities, I can see locations, I can pretty much easy does it. So the other thing that I will be showing you several times is the search filter, which is very handy. So if I have all my units available, very fast to find units that are location, in this case UK. There's 2 units, which is 1 offline, but also for the NL, So your name convention will help you very much into accessing your unit. In this case, what I mentioned before, it's my Bold SR. I have a Cisco GS300 connected and have a ServerTech PDU for Power Boot. I can go to the other unit. This is the Bold, as mentioned. Like I said, I will be switching several times up and down just to show you the differences and just to show you the effect that this demo has. In here, I can see my Cisco device again, just like I saw from the cloud. Very easy to have access that way. I can also show the cellular data, for example, on a unit. Let's pick one. This one, for example. And here you see the cellular data that's being used in April of this year for this specific unit. I can also, again, I can select a group. I can select a site, so I can have aggregated data about my data use for my remote location. Now, getting into objective number 2 is having fast access to your target devices, which, for example, I just type in Cisco here, and I see all of the devices that have a Cisco device connected. So here you go. This one is offline, but you can still search it. Here I can see my other Cisco devices. So I go in here, start my console session, and maybe a blocker there. There we go. There we go. So this is my GS300 here. It could be anywhere. It could be in Amsterdam, but it of course could also be in New York. Okay, so this is objective number 2, fast access to repair your issues fast. So that's pretty much for the dashboard on this side. I have fast access, a good overview of your target devices, that's eminent. If I go to site, here I can add my locations, I can add my data centers, I can add my edge locations wherever they want. Just add a name. It's not very difficult. I can also add my devices to a different site. So let's say in Amsterdam, I only have my 1 unit here, but in a different location, I might have multiple. Let's see, UK, there were 2, I believe. Yeah, there they are. So this makes it very easy to find your devices and to your units. It will give you also a lot of information about the appliances themselves. Again, it will give you the serial number, it will give you the firmware version, it will give you the site, how long it's offline, online, all that kind of information. I can even click on a unit and get additional information. So in this case, I can see how long it's been up. Again, the firmware version. I can see exactly which interfaces are being connected. My IP address here locally. It's not connected, it doesn't have a SIM card, so I don't see any mobile data, but it does show me the jobs. And this is some of the jobs that I'll be showing you in a second as well. So all of the actions that have happened on this device, I can trace them back. I can even trace all events, if it goes online, if it goes offline, when sessions are started. So it's a very comprehensive environment how to get data from your, the health from your appliances. I can, if I go to groups, this is where the group management happens. This is what we mentioned earlier about objective number 3, being able to run, update, or configure multiple devices at the same time. So here I can add user groups or I can add device groups. So I can add a group, have a different permissions system in here. Now, if I select a group, and then from there on, I can apply configurations, or I can software upgrade for all of these devices at the same time. Now I know this amendment group has two devices assigned. So both units, if I go to devices, and if I pull down the same group, the MN group it was, I'll see the two devices. One is online, one is offline. And under the general, I can apply configurations. I need to look for one. I can upgrade the software. Or another feature is doing a backup. Now this backup is very nice. I can have it encrypted, for example. I can also schedule this. I can have this scheduled to do this overnight because I don't want to I have less network activity, or I want to have this recurrent. For example, I want to have a backup of every device for every day or every week. Once I have an issue, set back to the backup from last night and everything's fine. So fast time to recover. I can also do upgrades of the LTE modem, and under users, I can add users into a group. So in this group, in the MN group, for example, there's no users, but if I go to the Netherlands users, there's only one user, which is my private name. So that's so you can see how many users you have in each group. I think it's pretty much self-explanatory. Okay. Again, you saw me use the search filter box quite often. I think that's a fantastic feature for fast access, and depending on your name, naming convention, so can you. So if I go to devices, these are the individual devices. If I don't want to have group updates, for example, or group backups, I can do them individually here as well. Again, I can look for my device. It's DNL bold. I can do a backup. Let's do a backup now. I don't need any encryption. So let's do a backup, and later on we'll on the tracking we'll see where the backup ends up at. So again, I can see all the features and functionality of this as we saw before. I can do software upgrades at the same time, or I can do a backup. Users, there's a lot of users with different permissions. We've got users, we've got operators, and we've got administrators. And in this case, I'm in there double. I'm in there with my corporate account, and I'm in there in one private account. And the funny thing here is that, well, it's not funny, but you can see that the MFA status, the multi-factor authentication, is activated for my private account, but not for my business account. So even if I log out now, and I want to log in, I need to use my authenticator here. And there you go. So multi-factor authentication. We just saw Marcel van Zwienen is the only user for this group, so he's only able to see one side, and he only has access to one device with the Cisco, what we saw before. It's very easy. The user can't do anything else except for setting his own and resetting his own MFA token. So let's log in with my corporate account. Again, there's no MFA. And I have access there. So again, we got our users. We can change the MFA token. Once you add them, you just add the email address. The user will get an email. He can set his own password, and then from there on, we can log in. Profiles. Profiles are the repository where we save all of the configuration files, the scripts, the playbooks, the software. So it's all under here. And we can very easily edit these. We have our software. Well, let's go see if there is a unit in there. I think I made a small test script. Yeah, here we go. Just a small test script where we can set the web UI, the header. We can disable the host name, and we can disable the banner. So yeah, why not run the script, for example? So here on the ball, I see, I can see my host name at the top. And if I log out, I'll see the banner. So if I go back into the cloud, here I can see my test plan. It will disable the host name, and it will also disable the banner. So if I go to devices, I select my device, it's the NL. There we go. I can apply configuration. I can apply it on first connection, or I can schedule this. Of course, I want to roll it out now. So I save. I got a confirmation that the configuration is being pushed to my appliance. So now if I go back to my node grid here, you see that the banner is still there. We need to log in and log out one time. Well, you see that the host name is gone here at the top. And if I log out again, you will also see that the banner is gone. So it's very easy to run your scripts into your devices. So going back to profiles, again, we have all of our scripts we can have here. We can make a golden template. We can use variables as well for zero-touch provisioning, for example. We have our software, which are our ISOs, which we can push directly from the cloud. We set it under the groups. We can have our backups. Here you see that I made a backup just now. Time, that's like 3 minutes ago, so that's consistent. My firmware, this is just for your LTE, for your modem. We got different modems for different providers, so sometimes you might need to update your firmware for your modem. We can see your jobs. We can see I make my test script that I just ran to remove the host name. And you saw me run a backup configuration. So this will give you all of the jobs that have been happened in the recent past. We got templates there as well, if we want to use those. And we might have some custom fields. These will be used as variables for our ZPE provisioning. And that way, every unit can get a different IP address or different settings. Under tracking, we'll find all of the events that have been happening. So we can see who logged in. Leo is logged in together with me. So it's 2 users. I can kill his session or I can kill my own session if it needs to be. My logging, I can see all of my logging from my device. In this case, like I said, it's probably Leo. I can look it up by device as well. So if I want to see whatever happened to my unit for the last, let's say, 14 days, confirm. And I just did the job here. I started backup successful. So you can see all the devices, all the events that happened on this device. And again, I can select multiple devices at the same time. And I have my notifications, which are quite important. We want to see if a unit is online or offline, what we mentioned before. And I also can see the notifications here at the top. So my unit was, here's the test application that is being successful. The backup was being successful, but some of the units are offline. If they're offline, you need to act because, like I said before, this is your last resort. So it's very important to keep your device in a healthy state. Then under settings, settings will give you all of the system details. So in this case, for example, we can see what our enrollment keys are. So we need a customer code and an enrollment key to enroll the unit into the cloud. If I go back to my Bolt again, there we go. I log in. Under the system tab, we have a toolkit. Under the toolkit, we have the cloud enrollment. So this is the place where you would fit your customer code and your enrollment key. After you do so, you enroll it and the unit becomes available in the cloud. You can also have this automatically set up with zero-touch provisioning, where if a unit is connected, it will report itself into the cloud. It will see that it's activated and it will enroll it himself. Even stronger, we can go, if we go back to the cloud here, we can also have profiles or templates, like the one that I showed you before. And you can even apply it on enrollment. So if I have a golden template here with some settings, so automatically the security template will be applied as soon as the unit gets enrolled. It's a very powerful feature here. So the unit doesn't become unsecure, and people may access it locally. Going back to tracking, settings. We saw the enrollment keys. We got company information. We got account information, which is for myself, of course. We can regenerate the MFA token. These are the single sign-on platforms that we saw earlier during the login. And we have our notifications. What do we want to be notified on? If a device goes online, okay, but if it goes offline, I think this is a very powerful one, because you need to be notified before it goes totally offline, in between of the failover, of course. Subscriptions, we got some subscriptions here, not very sexy. Diagnosis, even just like on all of our appliances, we can run a diagnostics tool. If anything is funky or not working as expected, you can run the diagnostics, and that way our engineers can have a look over and they can fix it for you. That's the same thing here with the cloud. And finally, we have some apps. We have some apps running in our cloud. We got an SD1 app. We got a Horizon 3 application running. Let's start with the reports. It's a very easy one. I can have a list, for example, of all of the devices that are out there. I can run a report, and here I see all mine. It's very fast, very easy, but very powerful to use. We have our extended storage. Extended storage is if you would like to use our cloud as a repository for your target devices. We saw the firmware before, how easy it is that you just have one repository for the firmware of your LTE modems, for example, and you can push it to 400 devices at the same time. Very powerful. These can be ZPE related software, but they can also be Palo Alto QCOWs or FortiGates. Just that was the fourth objective that we had at the beginning. Manage your target devices and make sure that they're up and running as well. And finally, we have our Node-RED data lake. Let's see if that has any sensors. You already see some values. So all this data is collected from our appliances. You see this is the one in the UK. This is the MN group that I mentioned before. Here you can see the exact temperature of your appliance. You can see the humidity of your appliance. But we can also do sensors, or we can do login, so we can figure any kind of data that we can run from our environment. Okay. Well, I hope it was informative for you. I would like to thank you for your attention, and I wish you a nice day. Thank you very much.